Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
All right, welcome back to Primetime Local News. We have lots on the show today, but we want to start off with Saskatoon, actually, because Saskatoon went viral this weekend with their police force jumping in on the lip sync challenge. I know you guys are both big fans of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, so
everyone should be a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
It's a pretty funny show.
Very
and then
funny
this was just like this scene is just iconic, I feel like, in the show. So how did you guys feel the Saskatoon Police Department did on this? Did they justice?
Yeah, they did. They did really well. I mean, I haven't watched a full season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, sorry, but I mean, I like that episode and like that scene in general, but no, they did a really good job. Everyone looked like they were having fun and engaging and whatnot, so it was great to see all that Saskatoon.
Yeah.
Are you serious? You've never watched a full? I feel a little betrayed right now.
Yeah, and then we'll definitely talk about local sports, which unfortunately wasn't a great weekend for our local sports teams.
No, it wasn't the best for local sports teams, especially the Reapers ending their season in a bit of a blowout. But there's still plenty of promising weekends coming up, especially the next 2 weekends with high school sports.
All right, we'll dive more into that a little bit later, but right now we're going to check in with Brittany, who's down at City Hall.
City Council met today in chambers for a meeting, and although the agenda was short, some councillors did go into a lengthy discussion about a few of the items. We are going to be meeting with the mayor and catching up with a couple of councillors on their opinions on some of the things that were on the agenda today. But right now we're going to head back into the studio for your look at local news.
The mayor of Nikopol, Ukraine, was at City Hall today for the signing of a sister city agreement. Lloydminster and Nikopol now have agreed to share economic opportunity and cultural practices. Our Brendan Collins has more.
Mayor Andrei Fizak of Nikopol received a warm welcome from our own Mayor Albers this afternoon. The sister city agreement they signed is the first of its kind for Lloydminster since the enactment of the Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement.
The intention of this agreement was to start an economic relationship for the community, which involves the businesses in and around the community that may have opportunities to do more business in the Ukraine.
Mayor Fizak was also excited for the cultural opportunities it presented Nikopol and Lloydminster residents in countries that have a long-standing friendly relationship.
For us as sister cities, this means also some cultural cooperation. Student exchange programs are also an important part of this.
Over 1.5 million Canadians have ties to Ukraine or Ukrainian heritage, something Mayor Albers hopes to celebrate.
We have a strong Ukrainian-Canadian community, cultural community. Anything that will help foster that opportunities, I think they'll look forward to that as well.
Mayor Albers had the chance to meet Mayor Fizak in Edmonton for the opening of the Ukrainian consulate. And while Mayor Fizak has plans that prevent him from attending the heavy oil show, his delegation will be there to explore industry interests. For Primetime Local News, I'm Brendan Collins.
And on September 18th, you can make a big difference in a child's life, and all you have to do is fill up on fuel. Due to the success of the first Fuel Good Day, Lloydminster and District Co-op will be donating 5 cents per liter to breakfast programs for both public and Catholic school divisions.
And so when we looked at our breakfast programming and we felt that we could include both school divisions, and this year including the rural school divisions, it just seemed like a natural fit.
The breakfast program is extremely beneficial to many students, and every donation helps to keep it up and running throughout the year.
So last year, collectively, we raised $6,500, and it was split between both school divisions. We'd love to hit that total again or higher. We are also having charity barbecues on site.
All 3 co-op locations will be participating on the day, so make sure you fuel up in support. And nearly $18,000 was raised for Parkinson's disease over the weekend as part of the Flex Air Parkinson's Step in Stride Walk.
Some of it's going to be going towards research because all those things are really important. We've got a big region out here, and so the support programs and the support groups that we do on the one-on-one supports, etc., is really important.
A large group gathered at Bud Miller Park on Saturday to step up for Parkinson's. The event is the largest annual fundraising event for the Parkinson's Association of Alberta. All funds raised go towards research and making everyday life easier for those living with the disease in Alberta. And the Bonnyville Ag Society held its annual fall fair at the Bonnyville Rodeo Grounds on Saturday. More than 3,000 people showed up throughout the day to take part in some of the many events. Games to win prizes were a big hit at the crowd as the kids got to toss football and hula hoops on the rings. And after 5 p.m., the local Bonnyville Legion held a music jam session with a beer garden. The annual event is held every second weekend in September to kick off harvest and give back to the community. Lakeland College has been through a lot of changes over the past decade, and with school back in session, our Brett Holden takes a look at the growth of the school in this week's retrospect.
For some students, this time of year is all too familiar. However, there are a large number of first-time students attending Lakeland for their first year at a post-secondary institute.
It's just like any grade going back. College students aren't any different. You know, they do have the level of excitement, anticipation, some nervousness.
This year looks to be a promising one for the Lakeland College. With numbers going up across the board, the popularity of the institute seems to be picking up steam.
Well, our numbers are up. We're on the Lloyd campus here. We're expect to be a minimum up of 150 students. Residence is full for the first time. We've got about 4 beds, last time I checked, available. So we're about 99% booked. In past years, we're about 80%.
And come 2018, that welcoming culture is still present at Lakeland College.
Me personally, it's pretty comparable to actually the size of high school I went to, so it's a really good transition. Like, it's not very scary. The amount of people here, the same amount of people I've always been with, so it's really comforting actually just being around that group of people, and everyone's super friendly.
DeJure says the small town feel and the welcoming presence of the school makes her transition from high school to post-secondary that much easier.
How open everyone is with each other. Even the teachers have been like, if you need any help with anything, come to us after school. If you need support, let us know. And it's just really nice because throughout all of high school, we were told when we got to university, your teachers aren't going to care about you. Like, no one's going to care. They're not going to ask how you're doing. They're not going to offer you help. First day I was here, it was, if you need help, ask us.
For This Week in Retrospect, I'm Brett Holden.
Retrospect is brought to you by Webb's Machinery. Webb's Machinery, your New Holland dealer in Vermilion, Vegreville, and Lamont.
And now we're going to go to Michaela with What's Trending.
All right, trending on social media today was World Suicide Prevention Day, so that's where we took our question of the day. We threw up the question on all our social media platforms. Do you think there's enough conversation surrounding mental health? And on Twitter, Eric did respond with, I think some people are afraid to talk about it, and sometimes people could just use a friend or an ear to listen to what's on their mind. I definitely think that's a great addition to the conversation. If you want to weigh in on our question of the day, you can always do so on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And you can, of course, always email us with those answers. Different question every day will be posted up on our social media, so do make sure you weigh in so that we can show your answer. But we'll talk a little bit more on this after the break. Welcome back to Primetime Local News. Just before the break, we touched on World Suicide Prevention Day, which is today, and that's where we took our question of the day. But I kind of wanted to touch on, I know social media gets a lot of flack when it comes to you know, mental health and everything, you know, can really take an effect on someone. But I think, or in my personal opinion, in these types of situations, it's also a good outlet because I think people can feel safe on social media, and I feel like as, you know, there's the Bell Let's Talk Day, there's World Suicide Prevention Day, you know, it's starting those conversations. You know, I think more and more we are seeing those conversations and people are being vulnerable with their struggles. So I don't know, do you think it's always, social media is always a negative thing when it comes to these difficult topics?
Well, I think as we kind of touched on last hour, it is a great way to start the conversation and to initially get positive reaction to. I think where we sometimes don't talk about it enough is making sure that someone knows they can talk to someone or they should talk to someone in person, because as much as it can be a great outlet and a safe place for people, it's not the same thing as talking to a person one-on-one. and that's something that's getting better, but still needs work.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on this situation? Do you think that this is, something that does help the conversation, or do you think social media just kind of hinders?
It's both. There's people that are out there that are cyber bullies per se, if you want to use that term, and kids can be kind of cruel on social media. They can be, exposing, blackmailing, whatever you want to call it, and but there are those helplines that kids and other people can go out to for help, and there's, I don't know, it's a touchy thing, obviously, because I don't know, it's good and bad, like I said, and you know what, I mean, people are always going to be there for you, but then you have people that are gonna come and hate on you, which is not what you want. So
yeah, definitely. But we want to know what you think on, is there enough conversation going around on suicide prevention or just mental health in general? So do weigh in on all our social media outlets, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd love to hear from you. But we're going to go back to City Hall, where we find our Brittany Matika.
Councillor Monroe joins me now after a fairly short but lengthy council meeting with only a few things on the agenda. However, the topic of trailer hitches came up, and that was something council really debated. Now, what was your opinion on having to move your trailer right away?
Any of these bylaws that we do enforce are basically for the resident safety within our community. And for me, having the trailer out on the street beyond 48 hours is just an obstruction and really does create room for error as well as room for accidents. Children, although are supposed to be trained not to jet out in front of vehicles, it really does obscure the view, and also for people driving. So I just feel that beyond 48 hours, there is no need for the trailers to be out. Whether you don't have two or multiple vehicles, I'd rather have a vehicle parked out on the street with the trailer in the individual's driveway versus having a trailer out on the driveway. Both the height and the width narrow the roads, and it just creates room for those accidents to happen.
And what about having the trailer be unhitched? Is that something that we should have not be allowed if they're unhitched on the roadways?
I guess I read it wrong at the very beginning. I guess 48 hours to me would be the absolute maximum for someone to have their unhitched trailer on the road. It does, like I said, obscure the view, and it really is a safety hazard. So for me, I would just want to see that nothing beyond 48 hours. I don't want to see someone park it there from Monday to Friday till they're off camping again. It's wonderful for families to get out and do those activities, but there really is no need for it to be there beyond the 48 hours.
So council has decided to call this back to a meeting and they asked for more information?
So for me, I just want to see what both the provincial and what other communities are doing, both Saskatchewan and Alberta. I think it's important for us as a community to be on par with other communities. I don't want to be necessarily more strict or more lenient. I think we try and create all of our bylaws and all of our jurisdictions and things to be on par with other communities, and I think that that's an important factor in creating these bylaws as well.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us, and we're just going to head back to the studio to check in to see what's going on in this week's forecast.
All right, thank you, Brittany. It was definitely a cold and wet start to the week. Only 7 degrees currently in the border city. Normally, our averages are about 18 for this time of the year, so quite below that number. Looking at our current temperatures, mostly 7s and 9s and 8s across the region. We're only in the single digits, and it's only September 10th. And yes, snow could be coming by Wednesday across Alberta. Looking at our satellite radar here, the green is the precipitation we did see. So this was from the last few hours. As we saw, those were intermittent showers throughout the day. Looking at our numbers for tomorrow, not much of an improvement, a little bit warmer, so 12 here in the border city. Same within Maidstone, a little bit warmer down south in Macklin, Provost 15. Wainwright going to be at 13, same with Edmonton. And then as we go up the map, both basically all at 12s across the area and 13 in Isle Cross. Watches and warnings. So this is a special weather statement that is saying we could see some snow by Wednesday. Lloydminster is currently not under this weather statement, but our showers could be turning into snow overnight on Wednesday. Looking at our 7-day forecast, that Wednesday could be snow overnight. Thursday, 5 degrees, and Friday, a -3. And same with on the weekend. We are definitely getting in to that cold temperature. I'll have more details later in the show, but right now we're going to take a look at our stocking commodity prices.
Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
The Residents in Recovery Society has officially opened an office here in Lloydminster. Cassandra Hornsby has that story.
The Residents in Recovery Society has officially opened an office here in Lloydminster.
We've had a number of successes already, and we've only been open for a week.
According to a recent study done by the Lloydminster Needs Assessment, 43% of respondents had family or friends impacted by addiction.
I think addiction has a lot of faces. I'm seeing it in the schools. We're seeing it in youth, especially right now. We're definitely seeing it downtown in the areas. You know, it doesn't take long. You spend, 10 minutes on the streets downtown. You definitely see people walking around that are affected.
The Society offers life skills programming at their office and is open to the public free of charge. Topics covered range from basic needs, personal care, employment and jobs, mental health, harm reduction, and legal issues. There will also be addiction programming open to the public.
This program is open to anybody, so it really is accessible to the person, whether they're living on the street or whether they're have a family living in a house somewhere.
A single house has opened for men only to live in and learn responsibilities. Living is only open to addicts who are in recovery and need a safe place. 2 men have already moved in, and the Society is on a hunt for a house for women and children.
I'm so excited to see really how many houses we can get, how many people are going to be reached, and maybe what other communities we can inspire to do the same.
Cassandra Hornsby, Primetime Local News.
Many students rely on breakfast programs in our city, and on September 18th, you can help keep those programs running. Lloydminster and District Co-op is bringing back Fuel Good Day on September 18th, and that means 5 cents per liter sold at all 3 co-op locations will be donated to both public and Catholic school division programs. The fundraiser was such a big success that Co-op wants to encourage everyone to participate again to beat the total of $6,500 that was raised last year. So make sure to fuel up so that breakfast programs continue to run all school year. And nearly $18,000 was raised for Parkinson's disease over the weekend as part of the Flex Air Parkinson Step in Stride Walk.
Some of it's going to be going towards research because all those things are really important. We've got a big region out here, and so the support programs and the support groups that we do on the one-on-one supports, etc., is really important.
A large group gathered at Bud Miller Park on Saturday to step up for Parkinson's. The event is the largest annual fundraising event for the Parkinson Association of Alberta. All funds raised go towards research and making everyday life easier for those living with the disease in Alberta. And now we're going to go to Brittany, who is at City Hall.
And Councillor Monroe joins me again, and this time we're going to discuss a little bit about the downtown redevelopment. Today a new committee has been decided and elected upon, and you're the chosen councillor to sit on that. How do you feel?
So it's super exciting to see the DARP finally come to fruition. I think that it's a very, very well-rounded group of individuals, and I'm very excited to see where this advocacy group takes us. We have business owners, people from arts and culture, as well as just people from the general public, and that was something that I was a strong advocate for, because I feel whether or not you're a business owner or into the arts and culture, that we really want to see what's going to bring the general public to the downtown. So I'm very, very excited about that. And although I wasn't a member of the people choosing the committee, I'm very excited about it. But I want to thank everyone that did come out, because we had a lot of applicants, 17 people that were willing to put their name up for this committee. So that's a great turnout. So I'm very thankful for everyone that was willing to do that.
And it looks like it's going to be a very diverse group filled with different ages and different, skill sets.
Right, so we do have people that have an invested interest. There are business owners who obviously want people to be down in the downtown area, both to economic-wise for their own business, but we also have people that are really invested in the arts. There's a lot of history downtown through the Heritage Building, and you see everywhere you go, whether it's Saskatoon or Edmonton or any other little towns, the downtown's really becoming a core and a place for the people want to attract to, and that's what we're really working towards, is having people wanting to come to our downtown. And this DARP will hopefully have people engaged throughout our entire community, but will really give some direction to the people that are developing the entire process on what the community wants to see in our downtown.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Councillor Monroe. And as I understand, they don't know when the meeting date yet will be for that committee, but it will hopefully be soon. So thank you so much for joining us. And now we're just going to head back over into the studio.
Area producers are benefiting from better instruments to make crop decisions. Gerard Lampow finds about a weather station which was set up in the field this growing season.
Whether or not it's time to retire the weather person remains to be seen, but producers can access their weather data for agronomic purposes using the John Deere Field Connect Gateway and Weather Station. With all the bells and whistles, this unit could cost anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000.
This is a pyranometer which measures solar radiation. We've got the rain bucket which measures obviously rain. There is also a soil moisture probe and a leaf wetness sensor.
Karen Klemek has been an agronomist in the Midwest for 15 years. The unit measures wind speed and direction, air temperature and humidity. The leaf wetness sensor measures the moisture in the crop canopy and can allow a forecast of disease pressure within the crop, and this allows for decisions on fungicide applications. The station is solar powered and was installed in late May.
It recharges the battery which is inside, which runs the whole system and then transmits either by cell phone signal or GPS satellite signal back into the Field Connect system in the cloud.
The data collected is beneficial for decisions on spray timing, fertility applications, and harvest applications.
It goes into a system called Field Connect, and producers are able to look at it on their computers to see trends. It also works with another system on the computer called Crop Intelligence.
So producers can set a yield goal, and based on the moisture, they can determine if they are meeting their targets. Klemek says the one unique feature producers like is the soil probe, which goes about 1 meter down in the soil.
And it basically allows us to know whether the soils are too wet or too dry, and then we can make decisions on other cropping applications based on that.
This measures the soil moisture profile to determine whether there's enough water in the soil to grow a crop and what size to expect. Gerard Lampow, Primetime Local News.
Frost warnings have been appearing across the prairies, but the effect on crops depends on the stage of development in a local area. 9 temperature records were set last Wednesday as the mercury dipped below freezing across large areas of Saskatchewan. Brent Flanton, a crops extension specialist with the Saskatchewan Ministry of Agriculture, says most of the crop in southern and central areas was maturing and drying down, so frost isn't that big of a deal. But he says that in areas where the crop was later maturing and where they were getting lots of rain, there could be some quality issues. Ian Epp, a Canola Council of Canada agronomy specialist covering the northwest and north central Saskatchewan, says canola growers with later crops should stick with their normal harvest plans unless there is significant pod drop or pod whitening. Well, that's your agriculture news. Let's take a quick look at your agriculture prices.
City Center Auto Body is proud to offer the paintless dent removal system. This works by going behind the panel, working out small dents. Lloydminster's trusted auto body shop for over 35 years.
All right, taking a look now at what was trending over the weekend was actually the Saskatoon Police Force. Let's take a look at the video they posted.
Tell me why.
Ain't nothing but a mistake.
Now number 5.
I never wanna hear you say,
woo!
I want it that way.
Yeah, the cops weighed in on the lip sync challenge. This is a scene, or they recreated a scene from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Over 2 million views online already. And look at this, Nick Carter even tweeted in that he said, "This is so good. Just wait till the donut scene," and we'll show the donut scene a little bit later on Primetime Local News. But yeah, it's going viral, has over 2 million views. I just can't get enough of it. I think it's so well done, and it's just nice to see your police force kind of taking charge and a little bit of a comedic side. So yeah, we'll talk more on that, especially that donut scene, because you don't want to miss that later on. But right now we're going to go check in with Josh for sports.
Joss is my video game handle, Michaela, but thanks. A cold, windy Sunday afternoon at VLA Field mirrored an unfortunate start to the Lakeland Rustlers soccer season, where they faced the Ambrose Lions, a program in its first year of ACAC competition. The women dropped their opener 2-1, while the men had to settle for a scoreless tie. This puts pressure on both squads heading into next week's road trip after leaving points on the table.
We put ourselves in a bad spot to start off the season because it's such a dynamic short season that we need to capitalize on opportunistic moments, and we blew one today.
In the men's game, the Rustlers had 17 scoring chances compared to the Lions' 4, but simply couldn't find the back of the net.
We control the flow, we generated chances, we had opportunities, we did all of that well, but it doesn't mean anything when you can't finish on a better percentage of play.
The Rustlers are in Calgary Saturday afternoon to face the St. Trojans before stopping in Olds on Sunday. Now, the Canadian Chuckwagon Association continues to wrap up business for 2018 as champion Dale Mitswing was in town over the weekend to pick up his prize truck. Mitswing took the title in his rookie season, the first in the history of the sport. He says it's been a surreal experience since the final seconds of that dash, where he narrowly edged Chris Molley for the victory.
Couldn't really believe I captured the title on my first year, but it's kind of an honor right now, so it feels good.
Mitswing also made good on his promise during the award ceremony that the truck would go to his father Ray in repayment for a truck the elder Mitswing had given to him 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, he's going to take it for a spin right when we get out of here.
It's the 9th championship for the Mitswing family. And the Lloydminster Reapers unfortunately saw their season come to an end on Saturday. They were in Edmonton to take on the Klansmen in the first game of the single elimination Edmonton Rugby Union Finals. The Reapers were on the losing end of a 56-5 drubbing. This is the second year of the Reapers combining with the Cold Lake Penguins to form a single club due to lower participation numbers. And on that note, I'm done with sports. Let's head over to Michaela. Is it going to still rain on us?
Yes, and that rain, unfortunately, could turn into snow. Phil sent this beautiful shot of some trees, but unfortunately, this might not be the scene outside for much longer. Looking at the region right now, North Battleford sitting at 12, 9 degrees in Cold Lake. Look at that. Could be hitting 0 overnight. So right now, or rather, we are not in a watch right now, but we could be seeing some snow coming in on Wednesday. Edmonton and West is currently seeing those warnings into their areas. We'll have more details, including your 7-day forecast later in the show. And right now, we're going to take a quick break.
All right, back again with Corey Churko. Thank you so much for joining us, Corey. I know you're busy in the middle of the tour, playing guitar with Shania Twain, but I want to talk about your other band, Took. I see that you have a new single coming out, and tell me a little bit about the band itself and when you actually have time to even play in this band.
All right. Well, Took is a labor of love between me, Todd Kearns, and Brent Fitz, and Shane Gallus. Now, Todd and Brent both play with Slash right now. They're getting ready to go on his tour with Slash. Shane is from Innisfil, Alberta, so he's an Alberta boy. He's on tour with Bees right now in Japan, which is a super group in Japan. They sell out Tokyo Dome like 3 nights in a row. So we're all like these international musicians who live abroad and who love our roots and how we grew up. And so we decided to get together and make a record of all the songs that we grew up cutting our teeth on from, the old classic Canadian rock days.
Now, what is the single that's going to be coming out? You say you had a tease today that you have a single coming out. Which song is that?
Well, it's a secret right now. We're kind of alluding to it on our Instagram posts. If you look at them, you'll probably in the next few days, you'll get to know what the song is. But it is a song that everybody knows around the world, not just Canadians.
I saw that you had Jeff Neal step in and play Jeff Neal from Streetheart, and Streetheart is, you know, obviously Canadian classic band. I think everybody knows them. Is it still kind of fun and almost awe-inspiring for you to play with the guys that you listened to growing up and have them know who you are and chat back and forth with you?
It's probably the biggest perk of starting up Took is getting the kudos from people like Bill Henderson, the lead singer of Chilliwack, from Barry Connors, the drummer from a band called Toronto. Of course, we all remember Your Daddy Don't Know. Jeff Neal, he's such a great guy. He filled in for me when I couldn't make a show when I was playing with Shania. And it was really cool for, you know, to hear him playing the Streetheart tunes with Took, playing his old parts, you know. So it really is magic when you can get the appreciation. Kim Mitchell said how much he likes the project. Ray McGuire from Trooper loves the project. So yeah, like I said, it's a labor of love, and it means extra when you can get those guys saying good things about it.
And one more thing that's very important to you, Corey, is the fact that you're vegan. So I know on some of your social media posts you get the chance to promote that as well. Why is that an important way for you to live your life?
Well, I just you know, I couldn't. It's so easy in 2018 to not eat meat, to not drink dairy, and when there's so much suffering that goes on in that industry, I couldn't justify taste for murder or death, or, you know, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
It's killing animals that don't want to be killed. And, you know, I just, in my own life, I wanted to show a little compassion, and it really is easy to be vegan, and you can just get the fake meats if you want, or you don't have to eat the fake meats at all. There's no reason to ever think you're going to not have enough protein in your diet. Right.
Well, Corey, we're running out of time here. I very appreciate the causes that you're behind, just talking about them, talking about the bands and everything you're involved with, and, you know, having a good old Moose Jaw boy on the show. So thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. And once again, it's at Corey Churko and at Took Rocks. Corey, good luck with the rest of the tour with Shania. Thank you once again.
Thanks so much.
You can make a big difference in a child's life, and all you have to do is fill up on fuel. Due to the first success of the Fuel Good Day, Lloydminster and District Co-op will be donating 5 cents per litre to breakfast programs for both public and Catholic school divisions.
And so when we looked at our breakfast programming and we felt that we could include both school divisions, and this year including the rural school divisions, it just seemed like a natural fit.
The breakfast program is extremely beneficial to many students, and every donation helps to keep it up and running throughout the year.
So last year, collectively, we raised $6,500, and it was split between both school divisions. We'd love to hit that total again or higher. We are also having charity barbecues on site.
All 3 co-op locations will be participating on the day, so make sure to fuel up in support. And the mayor of Nikopol, Ukraine, was at City Hall today for the signing of a sister city agreement. Lloydminster and Nikopol have now agreed to share economic opportunity and cultural practices. Our Brendan Collins has more.
Mayor Andrea Fizak of Nikopol received a warm welcome from our own Mayor Albers this afternoon. The sister city agreement they signed is the first of its kind for Lloydminster since the enactment of the Canada-Ukraine Free Trade Agreement.
The intention of this agreement was to start an economic relationship for the community, which involves the businesses in and around the community that may have opportunities to do more business in the Ukraine.
Mayor Fizak was also excited for the cultural opportunities it presented Nikopol and Lloydminster residents in countries that have a long-standing friendly relationship.
For us as sister cities, this means also some cultural cooperation. Student exchange programs are also an important part of this.
Over 1.5 million Canadians have ties to Ukraine or Ukrainian heritage, something Mayor Albers hopes to celebrate.
We have a strong Ukrainian-Canadian community, cultural community. Anything that will help foster that opportunities, I think they'll look forward to that as well.
Mayor Albers had the chance to meet Mayor Fizak in Edmonton for the opening of the Ukrainian consulate. And while Mayor Fizak has plans that prevent him from attending the heavy oil show, his delegation will be there to explore industry interests. For Primetime Local News, I'm Brendan Collins.
Nearly $18,000 was raised for Parkinson's disease over the weekend as part of the Flex Air Parkinson Step and Stride Walk.
Some of it's going to be going towards research because all those things are really important. We've got a big region out here, and so the support programs and the support groups that we do on the one-on-one supports, etc., is really important.
A large group gathered at Bud Miller Park on Saturday to step up for Parkinson's. The event is the largest annual fundraising event for the Parkinson Association of Alberta. All funds raised go towards research and making everyday life easier for those living with the disease in Alberta. And now we're going to go to Josh Ryan with our Monday sports panel.
And we're back in studio with our Greg Buchanan, voice of CPCA Radio, and the Tuesday night sports show at the Canadian Brewhouse. So Greg, we talked a little bit about the Bobcats last hour. We're going to switch to football now, and obviously it's a very exciting time of the year for football fans in this city. Two very strong high school programs, and you really have seen some good signs from the Barons thus far. They're undefeated in exhibition play. Recently, a big win in Red Deer.
Yeah, Hunting is one of the best high school football programs in the entire province in Tier 2, and they go into Red Deer and they win there on the weekend. Lloyd Comp is right at the top of rankings for Tier 2 right now in Alberta high school football. So they went to the provincial final last year. Anything short of getting to that this year is going to be a disappointment for them. You know, it's going to be fun watching this, and more than anything, Friday, September the 28th is a day to mark on your calendar because that's when Holy Rosary hosts Lloyd Comp, and it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. Last year was a pretty great show-off as well, or standoff as well, I should say. You had two teams with vastly different styles. You know, the Raiders are more of a defensive juggernaut, while the Barons are very skilled on the outside and up front, obviously, with their quarterback and the receivers.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see a lot of that again. Aaron Harper does a great job at Lloyd Comp. Vince Oreo back in the fold again with Holy Rosary. So you're going to see the Raiders program make big strides again here this year. They have become one of the juggernauts in the Tier 3 football in Alberta and have been contending for provincial titles for the last number of years, and expect more of the same this year with both their program as Lloyd Comp's too. Now, if you can give me a prediction on the spot here, are the Barons finally going to defeat the Raiders in the year-end championship game prior to provincial playoffs? Yeah, everything's kind of falling in together. Like last year, you kind of thought that was going to be the Barons' year. You got a feeling that the Barons keep on getting better. Maybe this is a year the purple and gold finally do it. Yeah, I'm going to hold off on my prediction for now, but I'll trust your word on it. We're going to switch gears now back to junior hockey. So obviously the entire country is affected by the tragedy that happened in Humboldt months ago now, and this Wednesday, they're going to have a very special broadcast to start their season. Yeah, it's really neat. So it's the Broncos against Nipawin. It's going to be on TSN right across the country. The great thing about this is how the hockey community, and for that matter, everybody, not only in Canada, but in the sporting world everywhere, has got in behind the Humboldt Broncos. And to see that game televised nationwide for these young kids playing junior A hockey, it's great to see. And more great thing too, they're having guest broadcasters for their radio games. So you're going to have some big name broadcasters doing some of the Broncos games in Flin Flon and Estevan and Nipawin, so that's going to be great to see. Absolutely. I know everyone's going to be excited to see that, as will we, and we're going to be excited to talk to you about sports again throughout the year as we really get going here on Primetime Local News. And stick around after the break for more.
Hey, I'm Scott Mitchell from Boom 103.5 with a look at what's happening in Lac La Biche County. This weekend, the signature event for Portage College's Golden Jubilee is happening, the 50 on 50 alumni event. Friday at 1 o'clock is when we'll have the free Spirit of Community Conference. 4 o'clock is a free community barbecue, and 7 o'clock will be that event where we're honoring the leaders and the alumni. If you want to get RSVP'd for that, everyone is welcome to attend. Just visit portagecollege.ca. On Saturday, Voyageur games will be happening starting at 11 o'clock in a tent in the field behind the Lac La Biche campus. And then there will be things like a corporate challenge, Voyageur King and Queen competition. There will be Indigenous games. There will be music like fiddle and jamboree style, and interactive displays. And I hate to say it, but summer is over. But that means hockey's back. Yeah, you can check out the Portage College Voyageurs as they play their only home exhibition game against the Concordia Thunder here at the Bold Center on Saturday at 7 o'clock. Come check out the team. Admission is absolutely free, and see what's in store for the 2018-19 season. Tickets are going to sell fast, so you better get them before they do for the 13th annual Lac La Biche Rotary Club wine tasting fundraising event that's going to be happening at the Lac La Biche Agricom. It's on October the 13th, and you can get your tickets at the liquor stop, Home Hardware, or from any Rotary Club member for just $60. New this year, they're also going to have a Scotch tasting for $100 with very limited number of tickets available for that. So make sure you are picking up your tickets and come help support the Rotary Club with the various works they do both in the community and internationally. If you have an event you would like us to feature on What's Happening, email the details 1 week in advance to scott@boom1035.com.
All right. Well, unfortunately, snow could be coming by Wednesday. Yep, that's right. Middle of September, we could be seeing the snow. Looking at our current temperatures right now, only 7 in Lloydminster. Same with Marwayne, just a little bit warmer as we go up north with Bonnyville, Cold Lake, couple of 9s up there. Just want to look at our watches and warnings. We are under a special warning or weather statement to the west of us. Lloydminster is currently not affected by this, but this means snow could be coming later this week. And tomorrow, looking at our temperatures, a little bit warmer, 12 here in the border city. Same with Vermilion, 13 in Vegreville, Edmonton, St. Paul also sitting at 12. Same with Bonnyville, Lac La Biche, Cold Lake. Little bit warmer as we move up the map and a little bit warmer as we go down south in Macklin. Looking at our school day forecast, 8 a.m. 6 degrees. You're definitely going to need that jacket for recess and lunch and home time. And looking at our 7-day forecast is Wednesday, that's when the snow could be coming, and then -3 on Friday, and again minuses onto the weekend to end off the week. We're going to go check in with Brittany down at City Hall.
City Council met today in Chambers, and although the agenda was short, the councillors did go into a lengthy discussion around a new traffic bylaw regarding where you can park and how long you can park your holiday trailer, and whether or not trailers that are unhitched should be allowed to park on streets. Councillor Munro, Councillor Buckingham, many of the councillors were quite vocal about this and did go back and forth with a lengthy discussion, and were interested to know what other municipalities were doing with their trailers and whether or not this is even worth our peace officers' time going around and enforcing these bylaws. They have requested that administration does go back and bring them more information at another meeting, hopefully at the Governance and Priorities meeting happening next week, but they're not sure if it will be on the agenda or not. As well, at this meeting today, the area redevelopment plan for downtown, the committee, 11 members from our community are selected to help give their input and ideas on what will make our community better and really revitalize our downtown. Councillor Munro is heading up that committee on behalf of council and joined by 10 other members of the community. We are down at Chambers all evening, and we are going to head right back into the studio now.
You are my fire, the one desire.
Yeah, that is coming in from the Saskatoon Police Force, tweeting out this video earlier on the weekend. They tried their hand at the lip sync challenge, and I think they did pretty well. Has over 2 million views online already. And some of the tweets that were coming in, they were getting some pretty big ones. Tim Hortons weighed in and says, "We hope your donuts are always your fire and one desire." So I think if Tim Hortons weighs in, they approve. Also, Biff Naked also weighed in, saying it was so good, and she then tweeted a link to the studio or to the video. And then, of course, the Saskatchewan Rush weighed in. Everyone, they were just trending all over Saskatchewan, and I think everyone had a real good kick out of this. Also trending online today and all weekend, really, was Serena Williams fined $17,000 for cheating, unfortunately. And you know what? This definitely turned into is tennis of men's versus women? Is it sexist? Lots of conversation online, and that's been a look at what's been trending.
Furniture set and design, supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
City Council met today. They did have a variety of things on the agenda, and they are going to be meeting on Monday for a governance and priorities meeting happening here at City Hall at 1:30. Tune in tomorrow to see where we're live on location, and I hope that you all have a great evening. We're going to head back into the studio.
All right, thank you so much, Brittany. Before we go, we just want to take a look at our 7-day forecast because unfortunately snow could be coming Wednesday night. 65% showers then, but that unfortunately overnight could be turning into a little bit of slush and heavy wet rain if it does come. Edmonton is also already in a warning, but we're already into the minuses as of Friday. -3 for your low there. Saturday, 6 degrees, 0 for your low. 7 degrees on Sunday, -3 for the low, and 8 degrees on Monday. Unfortunately, we have come to that time of the year where snow is coming. So, yep.
I don't like this.
No, it feels
I don't
too
like this either.
early, and I feel like our farmers can definitely agree it feels a little early. So hopefully you got the crops in the bin before that snow hits.
I have 6 a.m. runs planned this week. Like I needed this at least an extra 4 degrees on those days. At least.
Well, I will try to make that happen, but unfortunately, no promises.
I
You just have to
appreciate the
get
effort.
the right gear.
Yeah. Oh, I'm gearing up. Trust me.
Yeah, exactly. So we just want to finish off the conversation going back to the Serena Williams's debacle over the weekend. That was a big topic online today and throughout the weekend. So what are your opinions? I think you weighed in during the commercial break. So.
Yeah, just wanted to quickly say that the more I've read analysis of it, and particularly looking at the tennis rule book, while she may have a larger point about a double standard in tennis and men's tennis, women's tennis, when you look at the specifics of what happened in the match, she did deserve the penalty based on the previous violation she had and then the fact that she badgered the referee for 70 seconds before he finally gave her the game penalty. So if you look at the timeline, in this specific instance, I think she was in the wrong, even though her larger points may be true.
All right, well, we definitely cover all these topics on the show. So if you want to weigh in, do reach out to us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We'd always love to hear from you. And what do you think? Was she in the wrong? Quickly?
It's 50-50.
All right.
Oh, it's not hard. Not hard
we
enough
want to
stance.
hear from you. Do let us know, but we hope you enjoy your night. Have a good one, everyone.